Good morning. Welcome to ExPat InSights. I am your host, Raju Mandhyan. Here at ExPat InSights, we take external views of the internal successes by global executives who have made Philippines their home and are doing good in the Philippines, either in business or society. This morning, we have a very special guest, a global Filipina who's lived abroad for almost half a life and has worked up and succeeded at the corporate ladder, in the corporate world. And most of her life, she's done training, teaching, developing organizations. Her specialty, customer service. She is here today at ExPat InSights to talk to us about service, customer service, but to be more specific, customer service across different cultures, because she's been there and she's done it, and she's going to tell us the ins and outs of customer service across the world. Ladies and gentlemen, welcome my guest today, Judith Santos, who's just come back home to the Philippines.
Thank you, Raju.
Judith, welcome to ExPat InSights. So tell us a bit about, number one, what brought you, first tell us a bit about yourself. Did I describe your profile correctly?
Yes, actually, in a nutshell, yes. That's
Open up the nutshell. Tell us a bit more about yourself.
Well, I lived here. I was actually born here in the Philippines, and my parents decided that they were going to send me on a foreign exchange student program for my last year, supposedly in high school.
Right.
And when I came back, they decided that I was going to go to college here. But in the middle of that, they took me to Canada with them to migrate. And that's where I spent the beginnings of my corporate life.
Right.
And started my climb there.
So your folks are still back home in Canada?
My parents both came back. They didn't really last very long. They didn't
In
last
the cold,
a year. That's right. They used to
Right.
visit in the summers.
Right.
And when they went there, and took me with them to migrate, it was winter time. It was a wake-up call for them.
Right.
And they realized that they couldn't really live through the winters.
winter, yeah.
They just visit in the spring or
Well,
in
what
the
part of
summers.
Canada were you in?
I was in Toronto, the East Coast.
That's on the East Coast. And where's Calgary?
Calgary
further
is west.
Further west.
Just before going further west to Vancouver.
And were you in the heart of the city or on the in the suburbs?
I lived in the suburbs, and I worked all over north and south of Toronto.
Wow. I hear there's a lot of Filipinos out there.
A lot.
Yeah, and a lot of Indians too.
Absolutely.
Lots of Asians. It looks like a bit like Australia at times, doesn't it?
That's right.
Yeah. So, well, that's about you. So about service culture. Well, what brought you back? Sorry, that was a question. What brought you back home to La Islas Filipinas?
In 1991, my father passed away, and my mother decided a year later to, I guess, to get over the to
loss.
visit. That's right, and to visit all her children all across North America.
Yeah.
So she visited us.
All her children?
Well, there's 10 of us. I'm the youngest out of 10.
Oh my God!
And there were 6 of us abroad, some in Asia and some in, well, North America, really. So she visited us, and when she visited me in Toronto, she said, "You're coming home with me."
Just like that?
Just like that.
This is in the 90s, yeah.
That's right, but I just started, and I started my own business, planning events and doing corporate communications consultancy.
Yeah.
And I wasn't about to drop everything, all the signed contracts that I had, and leave her. So I leave with her. So what I did was I asked her, I tried to negotiate. I said, "Can you give me some time to figure out what to do in Manila?"
But just like that, out of the blue, what was her reason for wanting you back here?
Well, she actually knew about, I guess, a year prior to that, my job as a general manager of a hotel.
Yeah.
When I gave my notice to visit my father who was dying, they actually said that we can't do without a general manager, so you choose between between your job or to go
doing what you want to do
your father.
for the family.
That's right. So I said goodbye job, and I went back home.
Wow. Wow.
So when she found out about that, she got really concerned about I guess, how work life is in North America.
Right.
And but I was succeeding in my event
You're
management
growing.
company.
Yeah.
Right. And I wasn't ready to move, to come back here.
Mm.
But it took me 5 years to finally obey. I didn't realize that I was disobedient.
Right. Okay.
And I heeded to her request when I finally found a window of opportunity that I can
To come back and start your life again. Yeah.
That's right.
Let me take you back. No, let's not name the hotel you were working in. Let's say you were working for a Canadian chain or whatever hotel it was, and they said, we need a general manager. Either you manage generally, or you go back home to attend to your family needs. No, so that's a culture.
Yes, it is.
That's a culture, no? And we are going to talk about such things in the coming minutes, no?
Yes.
But how did you feel that time when you were there, which maybe part of you was Asian, part of you was Filipino still, no?
Yes.
And how do you feel about that incident? And then we'll progress into talk about culture. About the fact that whoever the chair of the board was said, Judith, stay or go, yeah?
It really proved to me that nobody is indispensable.
That's what you learned from there.
That's right. And that business has to go on, and we have to make life choices. And the choice I made, I believe, was the right thing to do. And I have only one father, and no job can take that away from me. And I would choose my family anytime if I was given a choice between career or a job that I really enjoyed doing, I was succeeding at, or my family. And I will always choose family.
No, so that's what you chose as a person. But if you, as a consultant today, a consultant who talks about service, culture, commitment, etc., what's your perspective today of that incident? 20 years later, 15 years later? How do you feel about that today? I mean, do you think that they were right, wrong? Do you feel bad, good? About them, not about what you did, but about the culture per se, not even about the hotel.
It's really nothing personal. That's how I see it.
Yeah?
It's nothing personal. It really is how business has to go on.
Right.
And there are times that you have to make that choice. You see, what I learned from there really is not to do the same thing.
Yeah, that's your personal learning, yeah.
Right. So if I had someone who was working for me, who had to make that choice, I will support that person because I believe in family as well.
Right.
And make sure that the position could be, I get someone temporarily to fill in, but set that person to go what he or she believes in.
So that's as a manager of Asian origin, Filipino origin, you would attend to the heart, the soft side of that task, that business that was, and you'd attend to the people side of it rather than just the functional side of it.
It's more compassionate capitalism.
It's a more okay, all right.
I believe
that's a good statement. All right. So Judith, let's take a 1 minute break. Then we'll come back and go into the depths of this subject matter. Okay? So welcome back to ExPat InSights. Okay, I hope you like this show.
My pleasure.
So stay watching. I'm with Judith Santos, and we are talking about service across cultures. I'm your host Raju, and we'll be right back. Welcome back to ExPat InSights. I'm your host Raju, and we are talking to Mrs. Judith Santos, a training consultant with specialization in customer service, and she is talking to us about service across cultures. So now let's go to the subject matter of service first before we go across cultures. Judith, your opinion about culture, service, customer service, to be precise.
Service just starts from even before we're born.
How's that?
Your mother carries you,
okay.
and it serves you as soon as you're born. And it's, these tasks are very, very tough tasks.
Okay.
And I think that we're all given the opportunity to serve. That's just our nature, I believe. I even My husband. I serve my husband.
He's sitting
When
right
I-
across there. So his name is Lino, and he's watching her. Okay, go.
And service is, as soon as you step out of the door, there's actually opportunities to serve.
Hmm.
I guess transportation.
Okay.
When you head out to work.
The bus. Yeah.
That's right. That's something that we need
Right.
to work on.
Right.
We need a lot of facilities to, and also tools to complete that service.
Right. Mm-hmm.
What I'm seeing now is here in the Philippines, we've gone through a lot of changes.
Yeah.
When it comes to service levels.
Mm-hmm.
We've gone from lacking to we're starting to build now. And we're building the momentum
Mm-hmm.
when it comes to the service areas. And that's really what's creating the growth in the economy,
Mm-hmm.
I believe.
So you're saying the service, you said it starts before we give birth. I mean, before women give birth. Or before when we step out of the door, we meet the jeepney driver, the cab driver, we
right.
hit the elevator, and the elevator man serves us all through until we get back home. It's service all through. That is the core essence of service, no?
That's right.
So, and you said we are moving well as Filipinos, no?
Yes, we
Yeah.
are.
What should be the core driver in excelling at this service? What should be our core philosophy? If you want to be the best, let's say, no? Here in Asia or any company, what must be the core mentality, the mindset?
It first starts with, I believe, it starts with the leadership. When the leaders lead by example,
Mm-hmm.
when it comes to service mentality, it really has to start from the heart.
Mm-hmm.
I'm talking about all these soft skills and,
Yeah,
and
it's
all
okay.
that.
Yeah,
And because, you see, if you don't have it in your heart to serve, it will come out fake.
Mm-hmm.
And when it's fake, you do a disservice to whoever's receiving your
You're
service.
cheating them.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Because everybody really provides a service and also receives a service. To give you a more concrete example,
Yeah.
I believe that if we don't take care of our workforce to bring them to work, we have nice offices, we have great companies to work for, we have great accounts to serve, and we have good products, we have amazing facilities, but if we don't take care of them from home to work.
Right. End to end.
Right.
Yeah.
And this is something that goes on when it comes to the heart, actually, the heart to serve starts from their self-image. You see, if you don't build the self-image, you see, this is something that I've talked about in classrooms and in meeting rooms and boardrooms, that as soon as someone steps out of their house, and just have a question, when you get on the Jeep, does the Jeep stop, full stop, to pick you up?
Yeah.
Or is it predictable? Is it consistent at that place that you have to pick it up? It's really, they're all piled up and they're all over the place.
Right.
And once you get on, does it really stop until you're fully seated, or does it go? Anything that takes away from someone's self-image as they go, when they're not treated properly,
wow,
it really contributes to their ability to serve. So even their pay, right?
Yeah.
What surrounds them at home,
Yeah.
that contributes to their self-image.
Right.
So if on the way to work they're not served, but you expect them to serve,
Right.
then it gets really complicated. You're asking for something that person doesn't have.
Wow.
That's why training is so vital in an organization. You really have to build your people before you expect them any kind of output of service.
Wow. Let me get a perspective on this. So I walk into a restaurant, and my first contact is the waiter person, no? And he says, how may I help you? Good morning, etc. And of course he runs through the routine, shows me the menu, takes my order, brings me the food, charges me the amount. But all through the process, if my levels of satisfaction from his service peak up, that could also represent, or that's a representation of his self-image and the service he got from his sources. Is that right? Is that what you're saying?
Absolutely.
And you mentioned the leader before you described this soft perspective. So in an organization, the leader's self-image relates to this philosophy. Would you expand on that?
It's a huge responsibility for the leader to make sure that these people who work in that team.
Let's say a BPO called XYZ Services.
Yeah.
Let's be safe here, okay? And they serve people across the world, whatever they sell, whether they sell travel services or hotel room booking services, or whatever they do, no? So the CEO of that company needs to nurture the self-image of his team.
That's right.
Who serves his self-image? Him.
Him.
Who provides him?
He has to surround himself with things that will build his self-image. This is also something that leaders need to know, that they have to read.
Yeah.
Leaders are readers.
Okay, that's one, all right.
Readers are leaders. And they have to study their people. There are leaders that I know, that I'm aware of, that don't go beyond their immediate reports.
Right.
They have to trickle down. They have to reach down. There are actually leaders currently in this country that are reaching down. And
I'm going to ask you to name names.
Oh.
I'm going to at least name the companies, because we need benchmarks. So if you're going to make some statement, we need to back it up, no?
Let me mention one.
I'm not asking you yet, but you can, yeah, who? Okay, go ahead.
Let me mention one.
Yeah.
Siva. Siva of Transcom.
I have no idea who that is.
I met this gentleman through a job opportunity, and I learned about the things that he was doing as a leader, as a country manager.
Is he an
for
ExPat?
Yes, yes, he is.
Okay.
And
I Siva, whoever you are, lucky man. Lucky man.
I'm just so impressed by the detail of this man, that he really, you see, we tried to, I put together a team with the attempt of, with the hopes of putting up a call center ourselves. And I didn't know that the concepts and the principles that we were trying to establish already existed. And Transcom is one.
Okay.
They make sure that the leader, Siva, makes sure that he reaches to the agent level. He wants to be aware of what everyone is going through. It's funny, I'd spoken to some of their staff.
Yeah.
And I'd ask, do you have a training head? Do you have an operations head? You know, certain names, and they don't know. These are agents. They don't know, but they know Siva. Isn't that amazing?
So they don't know their immediate bosses or other up the level of the corporation, but they know
the country,
the head honcho.
Yes.
And on a personal level.
Yes.
And so you're saying he nurtures their spirit, he nurtures their self-image.
Right.
And you said for him to nurture his own self-image, he reads and draws upon their energies too. Where does he get his nourishment?
Likely through his family.
Or likely from other sources outside.
Yes, that's right. And also how he appreciates also his view of and the value that he gives people.
Okay, that's a good example. Great. So now, you mentioned already a BPO service. So this BPO probably provides services to countries across, to cultures across, no? Let's take a view of the service culture in the Philippines with the Filipino culture, which is very caring, very cariñoso, you know, kapwa, Paramdam, etc. How about the one in Canada or other countries? How do you compare and contrast the two cultures of service?
In North America, I find,
Western countries,
especially Canada,
yeah.
they're very private people.
Mm-hmm.
So if, let's say, a Filipino agent gets the call of a Canadian, and this Filipino agent starts asking questions like, oh, how are you? Did you sleep well last night? If it's totally irrelevant, and if it doesn't really apply to that phone call, the Canadian would feel it a little slighted.
Yeah, he said, what the heck is he talking about?
Yes, and how could you intrude? This is my space, and why would you want to know about about my sleep last night?
Yeah, yeah.
So that's something that also the verbiage, the word choice, that matters a lot. You have to bridge the gap when it comes to communication skills.
So we as Asians, or we as, I don't know, Asians, but Filipinos, we can intrude without thinking we are intruding? Is that what? Like we unconsciously go, how are you? Where are you coming from? How old are you?
Married?
Are you married?
How many children
what did you have for dinner last night? But Western cultures don't cross that personal space bubble, no?
That's right. They start off with, what industry are you part of? And this is North American speaking. They talk about general things. And then it's up to you to reveal personal information about yourself. But here,
people just
when I first arrived at work, it was like, boom. They're all over me asking me personal questions about, at the time, they'd ask me.
I once met up with a German expat. I think he was from Davao, and he was in the country for a couple of years only. And he said, in my country, for someone to know somebody else, it takes about 3 years until we get to know each other. In the Philippines, he says it takes 30 minutes.
Oh, I thought it was 5.
5 minutes, all right. So from this perspective, of course, you are talking about BPOs. How about industries which are old school, manufacturing, retail? What about the service culture there, here in Asia, Judith?
In manufacturing, in
retail, fast food, fashion, department stores, Rus stands.
This is something that has been also a concern. It has been a concern for me because every time my husband and I go out, and we're both customer service professionals. That's something that we live and breathe. Yes, yes. That's his background too.
Right.
And whenever we go out, there are certain things that we learn from. Our takeaway would be the positives and the negatives. This
was
server,
good, and this can be improved.
That's right.
So name a few. What is good here? Name 3 things that are good about service in the Philippines, on the streets of Philippines, not in BPOs.
On the streets?
Shops, malls.
Okay. It's really initiative.
Yeah.
I find that I guess the retail rep is not really involved too much in depth when it comes to the product knowledge.
Right, right.
Because this is something that you have to invest in. And I see a lot of it in department stores, and I'm not going to mention names.
Right.
I walk in.
Let's not talk about Rustan. We are not talking about Rustan.
No, we're not.
We're not. We didn't even mention it. Okay.
I walk in, and there are a lot of salespeople all around.
Right.
But no one is taking the initiative to actually come up to me and ask. They're just standing around. They're not. You see, if there aren't any customers around, that is opportunity to learn more about the product, to learn more about what matches with what when it comes to clothing. The retail professionals in Canada that I'm so used to, that I've been spoiled with, they would even go as far as asking for my phone number at work or wherever they can reach me to keep me updated on certain signature brands that I'm used to buying.
This was their
And they will
personal
put it
initiative or a campaign run by the
personal
business? This
initiatives.
personal, so they were in touch with you as, hey Judith, this is Jane. You know the
Yes.
black shoes that you were looking for a month ago?
That's
We
right.
got them now. You want to come by before they get taken
right.
off like that?
That's right. And that matches with this purse. Remember, you were asking me about the scarf that it's like that.
Okay, okay. By the way, Rustan's does this. A friend of
Yes.
mine will claim that they do it because every time he walks in, they will know the shoes and the bags that his wife has or doesn't have.
This
So-
is what we implemented.
So this, oh, you did? You did?
I
Okay.
worked in
Now,
those areas, yes.
my question is, so you're saying the service representative in these retail outlets or these malls in Asia,
Right.
they're contractual, they're short-term minded, thus they are willing to serve, but they're not willing to invest in learning how to serve over a certain period of time. That means going that extra mile and
That's right.
building a relationship with the customer. So that's what we lack.
Right. You can probably find 2 out of 20 who will build a career
Of
or
their
make
own natural initiative,
That's
not a culture created by the company.
That's
Fine.
right.
So on this note, Judith, if you were given a free hand in the Philippines, no? I mean, we have a great culture. We are very caring. We are warm-hearted.
Yes.
But you're right. We don't skill ourselves up as representative of any company. We don't go deep into the product knowledge or the service that we provide, and we don't go beyond just the first interaction. What?
Can I interrupt?
Sure.
Because Raju, a lot of them, they have something in mind that they will leave the country. I think that's becoming less and less.
Oh, so there's lack of
Lack
of commitment to the business they're working for, and lack
Yes.
of commitment to their career,
Right.
and sorry to say, the country,
That's
because
right.
they think that.
But that's changing.
Yeah. So, what would you recommend to expedite that change,
Training.
to facilitate that? No. What would be your 5 steps to say department store or chain of stores or fast food restaurants XYZ again? ABC
Well,
Corporation. Yeah. What would you do?
Upskilling. They need to upskill. They need to work on their leadership as well. They need to,
So the person who represents the Siva-like position, the CEO position,
right.
he needs to be trained first.
Yes,
That's one, okay.
that's right.
2,
Well, actually, in no order, really, when it comes to the steps, recruiting the right people
Mhm.
is crucial. So you have to have a really good recruiting team
mm-hmm.
to sift through all the candidates, because there are a lot of talent out there, but to actually pick the right ones.
So the leader, upskilling the leader,
Right.
yeah, coaching the leader actually, not just upskilling, because he probably has the skills, he just doesn't want to apply them, no? Then recruitment,
Right, getting the right people.
yeah, and
then the company investing in the people. You see, when you pay them peanuts, you don't get much.
you get elephants, they say.
Well, I heard monkeys.
No,
But-
you get elephants. If you pay coconuts, you get monkeys. No?
Oh, okay. So it's bananas. You get monkeys. Okay.
Right. Hey, Judith, let's take a break. Yeah?
Okay.
We'll come back to point 3 and 4 after this break. So let's take a 1-minute break, and we'll come back and talk to Judith, and she'll give us 3 more tips.
Yes.
3 more tips on how to improve the service culture in our country. Stay watching. This is ExPat InSights. Good morning. Welcome back to ExPat InSights. I'm your host, Raju Mandhyan. We are talking to Mrs. Judith Raju Santos, and she's talking about service culture, customer service across cultures. That's the correct thing,
That's
no?
right.
And she gave us 3 recommendations for the Philippines. Number 1, get the CEO thinking right about him nurturing his self-image and then nourishing and nurturing the spirit and the self-image of his employees. That's number 1. Number 2, right recruitment. Really recruit well. That means be choosy, take your time, and find good people. 3, Judith.
Investment in the employees, the actual team that you're putting a machinery together to serve your customers. You really have to invest. And training.
Paano? In Tagalog, paano? Kamusta? Anong klase ng investment?
Training.
Mm-hmm.
Training is one. A lot of people say it's expensive, but really and truly it's an investment.
Right.
Because as you said, the ROI.
Right.
What is the percentage?
Yeah. So how much does one invest? How much does ABC Corporation, ABC Restaurants with 300 outlets, how much should they invest out of the budget? What percentage of their money and blood and sweat should go into educating their people?
20 to 30%.
Off their gross budget?
Yes.
Wow, that's a lot. Marketing, product research.
Right.
Okay. And what kind of returns would they get on that?
More than 200%.
That's double. Just double.
More.
That's okay,
yes.
more than, okay.
That's right. And you see, when you invest in the people, that's part of their compensation package. These are things that they will come away with if they ever leave the company.
Yeah.
Or they can apply it to further development of the company.
Right.
When they know that the company cares for them, they'll care for whatever they're doing.
They'll pay it right back. They give it right back.
Yes,
no?
that's right. And because you found the right people, then you will get those results. But you will also, if you missed out on the recruitment part, and then you start investing in the wrong people, then they will take that away.
Yeah. Well, and you made a good choice already. So you're investing, you're planting
Yes.
your seeds in the right,
Right.
soil, no? And
Right.
then beyond that, how do we go?
Then they have to know through training also, and also corporate communications, when it comes to communicating, giving them the visibility of where the company's going and what's their part.
Let's kind of give them space. Give them clarity on the purpose of the corporation.
Right.
Yeah.
And you see, when it comes to PR and training, they go together. Because you have to know, as the PR person, what are you telling the public and also the internal PR? What are you telling everybody that your mission is and where you're going? And when it comes to training, that has to be consistent and all in line with where the company's going and what they're supposed to be producing.
Jerry Plana of Personal Management Association was here 2 weeks ago, and he called it leadership brand. Are you talking about the same thing when you say training, and you mentioned PR?
Yes.
So what we are doing inside and what we are telling outside, would that be the leadership brand of that business?
And that's where the company culture comes from. And that's where it develops.
Right.
And that's when you know that it doesn't, I guess, change all the time or flutter or fluctuate.
Doesn't veer away from its
You're on
values,
the right path. And you've got everybody along, as a team, whether you're
Looking
10,000, whether you're 30,000 or maybe 1,000 employees, you're all going the same direction.
So, Judith, so these are 3 recommendations. Any more?
Well, I actually checked my notes here.
Okay. Yeah.
When it comes to clarity,
Yeah.
you have to really have...
How many points do you have?
There are 2 more.
2 more points. Okay, clarity.
Yes.
Okay.
When it comes to clarity in creating visibility for the employees and also your customers, just to give you an example for BPO companies, they serve a particular company. They're
A client.
Yes.
Yeah.
Let's say there's one client, an account, and they run the call center, the actual BPO company.
Right.
They run the call center.
Yeah.
And it really depends on how much information they give the client.
Right.
They have to give them visibility as to how everything is being run.
Oh, okay.
So you're not just getting their money and doing the process.
Transparency.
That's right.
Yeah.
Transparency. And also knowing where this is going.
How it's progressing and
Right.
growing and how it's maturing to serve their needs. Okay.
Most clients actually feel that they don't have enough information
Yeah.
on how their business is being run.
Correct. They'll be concerned. Obviously, if I was a hotel chain abroad and I give you my job and I have no idea on how you're doing day to day, you just keep making me promise. So I need to know precisely. I need to have my KPIs to find out what's being done.
Right.
Okay.
And reports You have to produce reports. You have to give everyone clarity.
Wow, that's a lot of
employees,
work. Oh, yeah.
the call center itself, and the
Everyone,
client.
thus the players, the agents, everything. Okay.
That's right.
The transparency through and through, like how we are doing day by day, moment by moment.
Yes.
No?
Yes, that's right. I said that I had another one. I think that's it.
That's it
It's
for
really, it's in a nutshell,
those are actually a lot. Those are
the
very big ones,
communications,
yeah.
the communications.
Judith,
is
what are
crucial.
your personal plans now that you're back home and you are now back to being Pinoy, if you don't mind, Filipino, no? What are your long-term plans? Yeah, sure. Take a sip of water and tell me what are your dreams, yourself and your home and your country.
There's actually a conglomerate that I'm putting together.
Whoa, okay.
Training and communications. And it's also to serve both private and the public sector.
Wow, wow.
There are trainer certifications that will happen in these branches.
Mm-hmm.
And it's really training central.
Wow. Wow.
That's what we're planning. And of course, customer service is one huge chunk
Portion
of
of that. Wow.
Right.
Partners from overseas or locally funded?
Local, but these are all, we're all a mix. We're all a
people
mix.
from the same profession?
Various professions.
Wow, wow.
So I'm excited about putting that together. We've decided to do the groundwork, but
yeah.
I told you that there's a possibility of this job offer next week. I'm really torn, but that's something that
I think you need to get clarity on that.
Yes.
You need to know what I'm doing, you know? Yes. And your hopes for this country. It's doing very well, I hear. And so what are your hopes for your Bansa? Your dreams for your Bansa?
One very small detail.
Yeah, sure.
Remember I talked about transportation?
The jeepneys.
Transportation, quality transportation for our people.
Oh, okay, okay.
Get some order. Because you see, I believe in a God of order. And
You do?
Yes, and God is a God of order, and He will set everything straight when it comes to structure, when it comes to, I guess, facilities. And that's my dream.
Hey, what if what we see on the streets might be the order? Have you ever seen it from that perspective?
Chaos.
Chaos. Judith, thank you very much for being on ExPat InSights. This is your last 1 minute to say anything you wish to your friends, to your lovely husband, and to your friends in the business. Or to Filipinos who want to come back home. On that little camera there. Yeah.
For them to come back home.
Oh, it's up to you. If you want to call them home or you want to make this a flatter world, it's up to you.
I've been trying to get some people back home and encouraging people. Well, we have some friends who are coming back to retire here, but not to retire for them to be served, but they actually want to serve.
Add value. They want to add value.
And this is the time. This country is ripe for development.
Yeah, I tell you, it's really growing.
And you know, I went to Singapore. It reminded me of Toronto because of the mix. The Philippines is becoming, Manila is becoming like that.
Bigger, bigger and brighter.
And I'm hoping that the rate of exchange, the currency exchange, will be just like that with Singapore.
We'll beat them.
Yes.
And this is good news, Philippines.
Yes.
Thank you very much again. One more time, mabuhay, and God
Thanks,
bless
Raju.
you in your journey, and hope you keep on adding value. Thank you very much. So that is Judith Santos, and she is a training consultant. You can find her on LinkedIn, Judith Santos. So next week on ExPat InSights, we'll have a German couple, and they'll talk about solution-focused therapy. And come back and watch us next week. Good day and have a great weekend ahead of you. I'm your host, Raju. Mandhyan. Bye.